Hey, today we're going to make my Paleo Whole30 soup that's absolutely amazing. So I'm going to put the recipe down here along with the subscribe button and comments. So tell me something else you'd like for me to make. Let's get started. Okay, so here's what goes in it. Minced onion flakes. You could use real onion, but that's a little bit ritzy for me. Some canned diced tomatoes, and I know a lot of people are like, oh no, canned tomatoes, you can't use that. But upon looking, although not encouraged, let's see if I can get it where you can see it. It's okay if it has citric acid and calcium chloride in it, but yeah, it's not super encouraged. So if you make your own diced tomatoes, you could use that too, but that's, again, a little bit ritzy for me. Italian seasoning, it's like my favorite spice ever. You're going to use a little bit of salt. Some celery sticks. I just grabbed some that I already had in the fridge. Along with some carrots and cabbage and green beans. And I like these because it says on them, it doesn't even say any preservatives at all. It's got just, see, cut green beans, water, and salt. Which if you were making them your own, you'd use the same thing. And some kale. You're going to use a lot. I know a lot of people don't really like kale, but I think it's amazing. It tastes really good in cooked and stuff. And for the meat for this one, I'm going to use some ground turkey. Though I made some last week with some ground lamb that I found on, it was like on clearance, and we had to use it that day. And it was different, but pretty good. And you're going to use some water and a big pan to cook it all in. Okay, so your very first step is you're going to brown your meat, whatever it is. I'm using ground turkey. I'm going to turn my eye on to about medium and put my meat up there. You want to try to keep it good and chopped really, really finely so that it is easy to work with when you're making the soup. I'm going to use my hulu to puncture it. And I use this to wash. I gotta wash it really good because you don't want to cross-contaminate. Okay, there we go. Finally got it open. And kind of get it in big chunks. Turkey's kind of hard to work with that, but I'll chop it up as it cooks. I'm going to go wash my hands real quick before I start chopping some vegetables. Next I'm going to use my ulu, which we got from Alaska a couple of years ago. It's like a tool that the Eskimos use to like cook with. It's called an ulu. I want to use it to cut up some of this. It originally came with the cutting board, but as you can see, that's gone. Kind of broken too. Yeah, it's just getting kind of nasty. Gonna cut up some more of that. You want a big pile of celery because celery gives it a lot of its flavor. So I'm gonna work on that. Veggies look once you get them all cut up into little chunks and it's all nice and fancy looking. I got about 2 big pans of soup like this from this amount of ingredients. Well, between the bag of carrots, the head of cabbage, and the celery, you can make 2 batches of this. It's really good to make ahead of time, and you can put it in containers and keep it, you know, for lunch on the go. Or dinner if you're feeling lazy. That's one thing I've really struggled with is you know, you got to do so much cooking with this because you can't just run down here to Wendy's or McDonald's and grab something. You know, you got to put thought forward before it to be successful. That meat, it is cooking. I know I'm using a soup ladle to turn with, but the struggle is real, yo. So when it gets all browned up, I'll be right back. My meat's getting kind of a little bit more done. It's still pretty pink, but it's coming along. I'm gonna, because I'm using turkey, and only because I'm using turkey, and it's such a dry meat, maybe if you use venison or something like that, you might need to too. I'm just gonna add just a little bit of olive oil. I already added a little bit, just to get it sort of simmering. And I think that'll help here with our next step. I'll go ahead, because I want my meat to be good and flavorful. We'll add some onion. I don't ever measure this, but I assume it's to be about 2 tablespoons. And my Italian seasoning. See, I got that a little bit strong, but that's okay because it's delicious. And some salt. I don't add very much of this. Just a little bit to give a little salt. A little bit to it. And the olive oil is going to make that. Oh man, I wish you could smell this. You should be so jealous that you can. Little bit here, so I'm going to do the can opener. And if your meat's good and cooked, and worked on crushing it up good, you can go ahead and add your tomatoes. Go ahead and start soaking up that delicious flavor. Get the second one. Yep. Now, as you can see, there's not a whole lot of liquid on those tomatoes, not enough to, by far, to make soup. So what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and add all your ingredients. Your carrots, your cabbage. I might not be able to get all that in there. Definitely want all your celery. Oh, I think it'll go. And last but not least, your green beans. I think I'm only going to add a can of it this time. Normally I did do 2. Since I had so many extra ingredients this time. Sorry, the camera's going all over this. I'm trying to do it on my phone. I just poured juice and all. That's all it is, really, is salt water. Let's see if I can get a little more cabbage in here. And the delicious, beautiful vegetable we know is kale. That's a little brown. What do you think? Oh my gosh, that pot is so full. That's crazy. You will be surprised how much this cooks down. Now all I've done is I just added some water so it's covering most of the vegetables. Like I said, as it cooks down, it'll kind of do that. And I like the kale a little bit more steamed than cooked anyway. You're going to cover this with a lid. and cook it for, I cooked it for about 45 minutes last time. And it turned out pretty well. But, you know, if you cook it a little bit longer, it's not going to matter. As this cooks down, you'll definitely want to take a turn with your spoon or your ladle is what I'm using, and stir it up real good so the tomato juice gets all the way through it. So I guess I'll see you back in about 45 minutes to an hour. So our soup's been cooking for about 45 minutes. I guess it's time to take a look at it. I don't know if I mentioned it, but I did have it on like medium high. So it's probably good and cooked by now. Ready? Be careful. Everything's starting to look good and soft. And now I guess it's time for the ultimate test. And here it is. Our soup. Finished, soft, tender, and absolutely delicious. So thank you for watching. If you like this recipe, let me know how it turned out when you made it. And make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Thanks!